Good afternoon. I'm back here at the State Control Centre, joined by the Minister for Emergency Services, Jacqueline Symes, the Emergency Management Commissioner, Rick Nugent, and CFA Chief Fire Officer, Jason Heffernan. And as the Victorian community has been warned in recent days, today, as we are seeing, has been an incredibly difficult day for fire conditions, with extremely hot weather across the state off the back of those recent hot days, and also with hot winds and with the predicted thunderstorms coming through this evening with the wind change. It's going to continue to be a difficult few hours ahead, and of grave concern, of particular grave concern, is the large fire that is out of control, moving in an easterly direction around the Beaufort area. And as those communities have already been alerted, there is an emergency warning and a leave immediately message for that Buangor, Raglan and Trawalla areas and the surrounding communities. And leaving immediately is the safest option for those communities. And if you are located in these areas, please heed this advice. Please act now to save your own life. And also the advice is to leave and head towards Ballarat, where there are supports available around the Ballarat area. In terms of the resources, the emergency services resources that have been deployed to the fire front, I am advised that there are 24 aircraft on the scene. There are at least 100 vehicles with around 1,000 firefighters from across the CFA and Forest Fire Management Victoria on the ground. In terms of those relief centres in the Ballarat area to support families and communities who have left the affected areas, there is a relief centre located at the C.E. Brown Reserve in Windaree, known as the Lake Windaree Football Ground. And there's also another relief centre has been established at the Alexander Oval on Waratah Avenue in Ararat. Can also advise that the Western Highway has been closed between Ballarat and Ararat. Also too, Skipton Road is closed between Beaufort and Skipton. And for the local community, please continue to monitor the Vic Traffic website for further updates, and there are detours in place for residents who need to leave. Also too, the train line has also been suspended between Ballarat and Ararat, and I'd encourage people to check Public Transport Victoria website for updates. There has also been other fire activity in other parts of the state. A grass fire travelling from Smiths Road, Parwon, in a southerly direction towards Geelong, Bacchus Marsh Road, and that is now under control. I want to extend my thoughts and the thoughts of the broader Victorian community to those individuals and families and the farming communities who have evacuated and who will be deeply concerned about this situation with this fire in the context of their homes, their properties, their farms, their livestock and their businesses. And our thoughts are with all of you right now. And I also want to continue to extend our support and gratitude for the firefighters and emergency services personnel who are on the ground right now battling this significant fire in the western part of the state. This is a fire situation that is continuing to evolve very quickly, and there will be ongoing updates both to the broader Victorian community, but particularly to people in the local area as this fire continues to move, both with the current wind and also with the wind change coming through in a few hours. So it does signal that there are going to be difficult conditions for quite a few hours yet in terms of the wind as this fire activity continues. Just one final reminder and request to all Victorians. Please continue to monitor your local situation very carefully, whether it's through the emergency app, the Victorian emergency app, whether it's through listening to local radio, staying connected into your local communities. Please continue to monitor your own local conditions, and also too, please respect those road closures. Please respect that there are many firefighters out there on the ground who need to have that space to do the work in those local areas. With those few comments, I would now like to go to Jason to add to my comments.
Thank you, Premier. As the Premier has quite rightly outlined the situation that the state of Victoria is currently facing from a fire situation, We expected extreme conditions across half the state of Victoria, particularly that western half, and extreme conditions we have seen. Experiencing temperatures into the 40 degrees, those strong northerly winds did start a number of fires across the state. As the Premier indicated, a lot of those fires were able to be contained and extinguished rather rapidly by fire authorities on the ground. There is one fire in concern to us at the moment, the Baden Rocky Road fire that ignited shortly after 10 o'clock this morning and rapidly took off in those dry, hot conditions in bushland and is now affecting several communities. That fire is at emergency warning. I'm here to tell communities the fire situation will get worse before it gets better. We are expecting that wind change to come through at about between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. tonight, and that will bring strong southwesterly winds. In effect, that will turn one side of the fire that is currently what we call a flank, or the side of the fire, into the main fire front, and will bring more communities under threat tonight. I expect those wind conditions to continue until about midnight tonight, where we will then start to see some of those conditions abate. As the Premier alluded to, an emergency warning for leave now, that is your safest option, is in play for the following communities: Ballydean, Ballyrogan, Beaufort, Ben Nevis, Buanga, Buanga East, Brewster, Chute, Crossroads, Erudicon, Uracumbene, Elversley, Glenbrae, Glenogie, Lake Goldsmith, Mount Cole, Mount Lockhart, Nering, Raglan, Shirley, Stockyard Hill, Trawalla and Waterlook. I do expect those communities to be impacted by fire between now and midnight tonight. You must put your bushfire survival plan into action. If you are in the emergency warning area, your advice is to leave now and make your way to Ballarat to safety of a friend or family, or to the relief centre as highlighted there at CE Brown Reserve in Windaree. There is also additional areas of advice for communities at Lexington and surround. You need to stay informed, be alert to what is going on. You may be required to act later this evening. As the Premier touched on, you need to make sure that you have the Vic Emergency app available, and those communities need to have that open and on them at all times and have more than one source of information, whether that be your Vic Emergency app, the Vic Emergency website, or listening to your emergency broadcaster. I cannot understate enough, those communities need to stay informed for the next couple of hours and through to midnight tonight. Conditions will get worse before they get better, and as I said, we will see those winds abate by midnight this evening. With approximately 1,000 firefighters on the ground and over 100 fire trucks actively in property protection mode across those communities that we just described, ably supported by 24 water bombing aircraft, sufficiently so that additional large air tanker capacity was brought down from New South Wales into Victoria to join the firefight earlier today, and all aircraft have been actively engaged. Emergency alerts have been issued, with more than 16,000 emergency alerts issued to people's mobile phones and landlines in the warning affected area. I encourage people to ensure that you keep an eye on your phone, as I said, the Vic Emergency app, but also any emergency alert that you may receive, and follow the direction of fire authorities. The Western Highway is closed. However, people leaving the fire affected area to Ballarat may use the Western Highway to leave that area, but people will not be able to return due to those traffic closures. Detours are in place. Trains have been suspended between Ballarat and Ararat. Check the PVT website for further information in respect to delays and train cancellations. I'm not aware of any property losses at this stage. However, it is very early in the firefight in terms of the fire that has gotten very large and is affecting many communities. We'll have a better idea in terms of losses associated with this fire in the coming hours as reports come through from the fireground. But at the moment, our focus is on protecting Victorian communities that are affected by this fire and ensuring the communities are up to date and aware of the actions that they need to take that are being predicted to be affected by the fire front this evening. So I cannot underestimate and cannot stress enough to people to have that Vic Emergency app, keep an eye, stay situationally aware through to midnight tonight, and take the action as directed by authorities. I'll hand you back to the Premier. Thank you.
Yeah, can I just ask you?
Yeah, that's fine, Mitch, thank you.
What other communities are you expecting to come under threat tonight?
Well, with the wind change expected to come through, as Jason and others have indicated, around 7:30 this evening, and I only say that as an advisory timeframe. It could be earlier, it could be later. So please, to people in the local area, continue to monitor the conditions. It is expected to push up towards the Lexington community, and so again, people in that wider district, please do continue to both monitor your local conditions, both now and with the wind change coming through, and also stay absolutely plugged in to the Vic Emergency app, and also to local radios, particularly the ABC, who are broadcasting consistent and constant emergency messages into those areas.
Do you know how many people currently impacted or have already evacuated?
As the Chief Fire Officer has just indicated, it is too soon, because there is an active and large fire occurring right now that is moving through the Beaufort area, and with the wind changes expected to move towards Lexington. So it is far too soon, simply because right now there are approximately 1,000 firefighters on the ground, supported by the aircraft, supported by the appliances, who are doing the firefighting work right now. So in terms of that's perhaps a question for tomorrow as the assessment's undertaken, but we do know that there are people who have left those areas, and there are those relief centres established to support them.
Are you expecting more fires to head out there tonight?
I might hand that operational question back to Jason.
Thank you, Premier. So yes, I do. At the moment, fire agencies through CFA, Forest Fire Management Victoria and Fire Rescue Victoria are forming up additional strike teams. That's where we put together additional fire trucks and firefighters in formation, and they will be making their way through to the Beaufort, Raglan and Lexington areas in the next couple of hours. So, and they will be principally coming out of the Melbourne metropolitan area and surround. So for those people that are on the roads, if you do see firefighters travelling in convoy, I do ask you to yield to them, move to the left, allow them to pass. They have important work to do, and we need to try and get them into those areas as quick and as soon as we can. So I will expect more firefighters to form up. Likewise, we'll be sending in night shifts, as well as forming up strike teams and firefighters for tomorrow. Is going to be a large operation tomorrow to contain and consolidate control lines when we understand where they stop. As I said, there's a lot more time to go. This fire will travel further and spread further, particularly when that wind change hits. So we will be expecting and seeing more firefighters join the firefight in the coming days.
Just two more quick ones. The Langy Calcutta prison, I understand, is in that.
Yes.
Will they be evacuated?
That is correct. There is that prison facility in the Langy Calcal area, and I know the Minister for Emergency Services just received a briefing on how they've activated their fire plan, and I'll ask the Minister to respond to that. And before I hand, can I just check if there's any other questions for me? Again, it is far too soon, because we have a large and active fire that is moving very, very quickly. And I think that is the other point to emphasise. Not only is this a large fire as a result of the heat and the wind, this is also moving very, very quickly, with spot fires being thrown hundreds and hundreds of metres ahead of the fire front. So in terms of impacts on powers, there will potentially be some impact. Right now, every resource, every focus is on that fire suppression work, noting that there are still many hours ahead of very dangerous conditions that firefighters on the ground will be experiencing.
It's obviously quite a scary night, a lot of uncertainty. What's your message to people?
To those communities who are directly impacted, not only are our thoughts with you and our concerns with you, but there is also significant supports that are being made available through the rapid establishment of the relief centres in both Windaree at the Lake Windaree Football Club Oval, and also too in Ararat. And I would urge people who need support to both reach out either through those relief centres or also too through the recovery hotline, although noting too we are far from moving into recovery phase given the large and active fire that is continuing to be moving through the state. So our thoughts are with those Victorians who are directly impacted, and I think in terms of what we can do to support them in addition to that is listen to the advice. Today was also a day that was predicted to be a very, very difficult day, and it has proven to be so, with many hours of difficult weather ahead. And for the rest of us, our advice is to make sure we are plugged into the warnings, the systems of warnings that are put through the different channels, and to heed that advice. Heed the advice from people like the Chief Fire Officer and the Emergency Management Commissioner, because we're not only keeping ourselves safe, we're also supporting the work of people in the emergency response right now. In terms of the other question, I'll ask the Emergency Services Minister to respond.
Thank you, Premier. And Mitch, yes, the Langi prison, like all prisons in the state, have very thorough emergency response plans, and that has been activated. I'm advised that in relation to prisoners that have health conditions that may be exacerbated by smoke, they will be escorted out of the facility to ensure that their health is a priority. I'm advised that the General Manager of the prison is present at the ICC and will work with authorities in relation to any further steps that need to be taken to protect the interests of the prisoners and the staff. But this is a facility that is well set up to respond to an incident such as this, and any further information that comes to hand, and my phone continues to buzz with these updates, I'll be sure to let you know.
There's also no reports of loss of life.
Thank you.